Welcome to Gulfstream Park. It is March 2nd, 2014. Christina Bosnack is here with Stephen Skaggs. And Stephen, you've been busy. I know you were up early this morning, and a couple of nice horses, or at least a nice horse working.
Good morning. Yeah, Honor Code Breeze today with Javier Castellano aboard. He went 5/8 from the half-mile pole. Typical Shug move. He likes to have him go past the finish line and go strong. He looked good today. He did it easy. He had a work partner named Special Agent, and I thought he handled him well. Honor Code is moving forward.
And, we're coming back off of a really big day of racing yesterday, highlighted by the Swale. And Stephen, let's start with the Swale. Just all the pre-race hype coming into that race was around a horse, a couple of horses actually, No Nay Never and Havana. And Havana was scratched earlier on the day, and it appears to be a quarter crack that kept him off out of the race. Although, well, we're looking at the 2013 Swale, which is not the Swale we're talking about. We're talking about yesterday's Swale. However, back to yesterday's race. No Nay Never had a little bit, it was stacked against him. He was coming back off a layoff, hadn't raced since August. And what was your impression of how the race played out yesterday without Havana being in that race?
I thought No Nay Never did all the running. He had not run since August. It was his first time on dirt. I think he's a special animal, and I think Wesley Ward brought him over, a tight horse. And I think he got in a speed duel with Donna Green's horse. And it's set up for Nick Zito's horse Spot. He came from way out of it. I guess I would say the race fell apart.
You know, a tremendous story, because Nick Zito, who's already in the Hall of Fame and you know, enjoyed so much success, he was really emotional after the race, and it was so nice to see. Nick Zito had 2 victories on the afternoon, and he's just been a tremendous trainer here at Gulfstream Park. But you know, in recent times, it's nice that he jumps up with a pretty nice horse, and maybe one to go on to the Classic.
Yeah, it was nice. It was his first time Zito had the horse. He had, I guess, bought the horse privately from Jimmy DeVito and the owner Curtis Green. And he was coming out of the race with Wildcat Red, the Hutchinson, and I thought he ran a good 5th, because if you remember, Wildcat Red kind of beat everybody that day. So 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd was basically all the same, and that race set up perfect. And first time Nick Zito, he got the job done, and like you said, he had a good day yesterday.
Well, it started out for Team Coolmore with the defection of Havana, who they own and campaign, and also part owners in No Nay Never. He got beat in the Swale. They came back in a big way in the Palm Beach yesterday afternoon, and I always say, here we're watching the race right here, Stephen, but I always say, Todd on the turf, he's really, really good on the turf. This horse comes up here at 8-1. Great price on him. But, you know, there's several other horses. Storming Inti. Chad had 2 horses in there. Storming Inti took a lot of money.
Right. I thought Pletcher's horse, Gallo Ward, ran giant, as did Shug McGahee's horse, Mr. Speaker. They went slow fractions early, 24, 48, 111 and change. That's set up for Stormy Inti. Pletcher's horse, Gallo Ward, set right off, and when Velasquez asked him to go, he went. But I was impressed that Gallo Ward had something left at the wire. I watched the gallop out, and as good as Shug's horse, Mr. Speaker, was running at the end, Gallo Ward had more in the tank, so I think both those horses look good moving forward with extra distance.
I think so too, and Mr. Speaker just looked fantastic earlier before the race, and he looking to make up for his previous start. But Mr. Speaker came from just out of the clouds. He was way back early, and he ran a great race.
Right, for them to go that slow, I think Lascano sensed at the pace they were crawling for that graded stakes level. I think he sensed it. He made a middle move. Usually horses flatten out. This horse kept going, so I have more respect for Mr. Speaker. That was first time Lasix.
I think I agree with you. Top class horses, and going forward, and just mentioning when I was mentioning Coolmore, they own Gallo Ward, so and campaign him. So that was a good afternoon. It turned out a pretty good afternoon for them, and we have a pretty good afternoon on tap today, and highlighted by the Rainbow 6, and we have a carryover at just a tick under $2 million, and that starts in race 6. And Stephen, let's get to it. Let's start with the first race on the card, which is an 8,000 claiming test, 7 furlongs on the main track. And my top pick in here, I went with number 2, Have the Last Word. But I see that you went in another direction.
I didn't know what to do in this race, actually. The 3, Tim Poor Tim. This horse was a good horse a few years ago. He's actually half to a world beater named Good Baba, a nice horse in Hong Kong. But if Giuseppe Idicernia can recapture this form from about 2.5 years ago, which is a difficult task, this horse has big back numbers, and I actually think he might make the lead in this race, which is who I was trying to find.
And looking on to the second race on the card, and it is a 100,000 allowance optional claiming event. It is a mile on the main track, and again, it seems like we went into 2 different directions. Although I think I used the same horse as you did. I went with number 4, and that is a pick of the litter. And I think you used number 4. However, you went with 3, Majestic Express.
I like pick of the litter, but I went with what I thought is the win machine in this group. He's the killer. The horse is 10 for 26. A horse like Suns Out, Guns Out is the fastest horse in here, but it doesn't seem like he wants to win. I thought he had that race won last time. They set the track record that day. He ran a giant number, but he was still on the losing end of the photo. So I went with what I thought is a horse that wants to win more than the other ones.
Yeah, he definitely is a win type, and 4 wins on the Gulfstream main track. On to the third race on the card, which is a 35,000 maiden claiming event. It is a mile and a 16th on the turf course, and there is a scratch, number 4, and that's Scat Leader. That was my top selection. However, I've ended up with number 1, Bold Rally from the Chris Block barn, and I have a lot of respect for Chris Block. First time with the trainer here, and hasn't ran back on January 17th, and was a closing second on that occasion. But what did you do, Stephen?
Yeah, Chris Block's horse is training okay here also. I went with the 9, Valid Concept. I, like you, was with the 4, but that horse scratched. I like Valid Concept here. The horse is 0 for 13, 1 second, 7 thirds, but it is the fastest horse in the race, and I like that Paco Lopez is getting aboard.
Looking on to the fourth race on the card, and it is a maiden special weight event for 3-year-old fillies, 6 furlongs on the main track, and there is a scratch, and that's number 2, Proud Girl. And I went with number 7, and that's a Bridled Heiress and a Wildcat Air filly who's got some speed. And Javier Castellano was aboard last time for that second place effort, is back aboard today.
This horse was well meant first out. If you look, the horse was 6 to 5, even money. Got beat right by a really nice Bill Mott horse named West Coast Girl. And she's actually a common opponent in some of these horses' race. But the 7, Bridled Heiress, actually had Javier Castellano work the horse the other day. She went 58 flat, did it as easy as she could. The number 8, Love You Loads, horse worth mentioning. She's coming out of a key race. In Tune won that day. Her stablemate, also trained by Todd Pletcher. In Tune came back and won an A other than this week, and Whomping Willow ran second in that race for Del Romans, also came back to win. So the 8, Love You Loads, is coming out of a key race, but I think the 7, Bridled Heiress, will be on the lead, so 8's going to have to catch her. But the 3, Cali Star, also exiting that West Coast Girl race. West Coast Girl also trained by Bill Mott, so Cali Star might not have been on her way that day. Today might be the day.
Yeah, she might be the day. I threw on my ticket number 4, and that's Gasparilla Inn, and this is a filly by Streetcar, very nice pedigree. The mare Boca Grande, a multiple grade 2 winner. She was second in the test, which is a grade 1 race, and Shug McGee, he's been doing really, really well at this meet.
I think horses training over at Payson Park are getting a fitness edge. Shug brought a first-timer over here yesterday that looked really good, and he got the job done. So usually Shug doesn't crank on him, but it seems like the Payson Park horse is getting fit.
Yeah, and he just has such a powerful team. We're going to take a break, and we'll come back for the 5th race on the card.
The OBS March 2-year-old sale is the Grade 1 source to the world, with undefeated juvenile champion Asia Express in Japan, Grade 1 juvenile stakes winners by Conquistadore, Secret Compass, and Bondholder, King's Bishop winner Capo Bastone, and Breeders' Cup Sprint winner Secret Circle in North America. Make plans to find your next Grade 1 winner at the OBS Selected 2-year-old sale, March 10th and 11th. OBS, we measure success by performance.
ExpressBet brings you a whole new way to play the races. An easier, better way to wager on your favorite tracks. With a more streamlined interface for faster wagering. With more handicapping insights from our world-class experts. With more racetracks, nearly 200 to choose from. And with your personalized multi-view wagering screen, your tracks, your wager pad, and your video are all on one page. It's simply the best way to play the races. Your way. Welcome to ExpressBet. Your way to play.
Welcome back, and we're going to have a look at the 5th race on the card, which kicks off at the pick 4. And scratch is number 5, and that's a male. It is the Caixa Electronica, and named after a war horse, just a tremendous campaigner. Campaigned by Mike Rapoli and trained by Todd Pletcher, at least later on in his career. He was claimed here at Gulfstream. I think it was $65,000, and he just went on and he just did such a great job for Pletcher and Rapoli.
What a racehorse. It's nice that he has a race named in his honor. I think Pletcher spoke about this horse during the Eclipse Awards, and I know Todd was emotional about it because that's right when the horse had got hurt and didn't make it.
Yeah, it was a tragic end. It was a training accident up in New York, and the horse had been doing well. And again, Todd was very emotional about this horse. But again, he's honored with this race, and also flattered by the appearance of number 1, Rebo Bobo. And Rebo Bobo, what can you say about this horse? He's just a win machine.
A similar type to Caixa Electronica. I think it would be fitting for Rebo Bobo to win the inaugural running, but he is a racehorse. It seems like since Jason Service got him, all he does is win, and then win again. I think he's 11 for 12 with Service, maybe something like that.
Yeah, well, now we're looking at his latest victory, which was in the Sunshine Millions sprint, and he beat a horse on that occasion, Happy My Way, and Happy My Way came back. I think he set a record, a track record here, and in his next start, so very, very flattering to him.
Yeah, Happy My Way went 108-1 in his next start.
Yep.
It looks like the two Dad's Laugh actually ran second to Happy My Way in that allowance race. But I think Rebo Bobo is going to be a tough customer. It's a short field, only 5 horses. I thought the 4 Hardin Wildcat was worth mentioning. This is going to be the first time trained by Kelly Breen. If you look at Kelly Breen's stats, he's 26% first time with, and this horse has a little class to him, being owned by New Farm.
Yeah, he sure does. And I also threw on my ticket, you did mention Dad's Laugh, whom you used as well, coming out of that big race, I thought, with Happy My Way. And also threw on number 6, and that was Songa, and 7.5 length winner at Calder last time, but that was an allowance company, so he's facing a couple of tough horses here today. On to the 6th race on today's card, which kicks off the 20-cent Rainbow 6. And we do have a carryover. It's $1.97 million. It is a maiden special weight event for 3-year-old fillies, and mile on the turf course, and a couple scratches. The also eligibles on main track only, number 9 and number 10. And I went with number 3, Chiffonade, from the Michael Matz barn, and Louis Saez back aboard. Really didn't show a whole lot in her debut, and but I'm going to give her another shot to get back on track here.
Yeah, I didn't think this was the toughest maiden race assembled, so I was searching for what I thought might be a price. I went with the 7, Dorsey, filly by Medaglia d'Oro, trying the grass for the first time, ridden by Dylan Davis, so I'm getting a weight break. She has some experience. She's trying something different. You know, there's some first-timers in here that I don't really know much about, and of the horses that run, I I went with what I thought would be a price.
Yeah, I also used number 1, She's Justified, and this is a 3-year-old filly by Harlan's Holiday. She made both of her prior starts on the main track, and now she's switching over to the turf. I like Harlan's Holiday, and I also like Harlan's Holidays when they're making the smooth transition to the turf, because I think they can handle that very well. I think there's been an upward progression in terms of her numbers of late, so I think I'm hoping that she's going to improve off of that effort. I also used number 6, and that's a Buddha Miss. And Buddha Miss, she's a daughter of Exchange Rate, and I think for a first-time starter, she's been working pretty well for Bill Mott.
Right. I also wanted to mention the one, She's Justified. She is a half to Dancer Bristol, who won a Grade 1 last year, so the one is well bred. The 6, it looks like Mott attracted Leparoux with this being on the grass.
Yeah, it sure has. So it seems to be a pretty competitive race in here. We also have number 5, Place of Honor, a daughter of First Samurai, and look at the mare, My Flag.
Right, Breeders' Cup winner. Well-bred horses in here. A lot of ways you can go, and it starts the pick 6.
Yeah, from the 5th stable, which is number 5, representing Place of Honor. Always have classy horses and classy pedigrees. On to the 7th race on the card. It is a 30,000 claiming event, and it is a 1.16 on the turf course. That race kicks off the pick 5, and my top selection in here, I went with number 2, Knickerdoodle. And not just because I like to say the name.
Right. That horse ran second last time. Only got beat 3/4 of a length. I ended up siding with the 4, Almost an Angel, trained by Wesley Ward. I like this filly. She's coming out of a race won by Sapphire Blue. Sapphire Blue came right back and won again. Almost Angel had an excuse. She hadn't run since July, so I think she moves forward off this race, and I think she's run a 15 on the sheets. I don't know, a horse worth mentioning, the 5, Hit Squad. She finally broke her maiden. It took 12 starts to do it, but sometimes these horses that take a while to break their maiden, they win, they come right back and win.
Yeah, that's a good point, because sometimes we notice that there's a filly we're going to get to in just a minute who's one of those types who needs a few starts, who's running in the stake later on this afternoon. So, but that's a good point. I did use Hit Squad as well, and I also used number 8 and Tie Dye from the John Kimmel barn, who came out of that race. I thought out of that Sapphire Blue race, I thought should run well again today. We're going to move on to the 8th race on the card. It is another maiden special weight event, 6 furlongs on the main track, 3-year-old fillies, and there is this race kicks off the pick 4. There are 3 pick 4s on today's card, and my top selection, I went with number 2, Jenny's Rocket from the Marty Wolfson barn. And here's another filly that I thought well meant in her debut. She was beaten 8 1/4 lengths, ridden by Javier Castellano. Javier's back, but I knew there was, I liked her on that occasion, and I like her again today.
Marty Wolfson's about 10% with first-time starters. He's 30% with second-time starters. This filly, the 2, Jenny's Rocket, ran on Dawn Day, so she was meeting a tough cast of characters. Little Alexis won that day. Nice horse trained by Carlo Vaccareza. This is a good maiden race, though. The 8 Street Smoke, the 7 13 Arrows is a half-sister to the Grade 1 winner Cross Traffic, who we were lucky enough to see him this past winter down here, and he broke his maiden here.
Yeah, and he went on to win the Whitney at Saratoga. And also number 8, you mentioned Street Smoke. I used Street Smoke in here. $225,000 at the 2-year-old sales, the Fasig-Tipton, Florida sale for this Street Boss filly. I like the Street Bosses. You know how I feel about those. My go-to sire, especially with these types, first-time starters, has been training pretty well.
Right, and I wanted to mention the 8 Street Smoke. The reason I went against is Paco Lopez is named on the horse originally, but there's been a rider change. I think it's, I can't pronounce his name, the jockey's Moringa. But the 4 West Coast chick, Nick Zito's horse, was favored at Saratoga. She was 9-5 that day. So to take that much money at the Spa, she was well meant, so look out for her as well.
Yeah, definitely. On to the 9th race on today's card, which is the feature event. It is the Grade 3. Here Comes the Bride, and 9 furlongs on the turf course. And a couple of scratches, main track only, and also eligibles, number 10 and 11. And my top selection, number 2, Candy Kitty. Starlight Racing campaigns this one. We can take a look at that latest victory. I thought it was pretty impressive. She didn't have the cleanest of trips late, Stephen, but she came on, she won, and she's won her last 2 starts. One was in the slop back in November, and in the wait a while in the Ginger Brew here. She had another impressive win.
Very impressive. She was bottled up. She had to wait on horses. Once Edgar Prado got her in the clear, she took off. She's definitely the class of this field and the horse to beat, but I see her being a short price. I went for the other Todd Pletcher, the 4, Seeking Her Glory. The filly just broke her maiden. I'm usually against maidens facing winners in a stakes race, but I think the 4, Seeking Her Glory, will be on the lead in this race. I get the meets leading rider, Javier Castellano. Being by Giants Causeway, she's going to be hard to get by.
You know, I spoke to Todd yesterday. He's out in California for the Barrett sale. That's a 2-year-old in training sale today, and I spoke to him about these 2 fillies, and I asked him about Candy Kitty, and just pointing to her class. They're using this as a stepping stone, taking her on to Keeneland, to running her in the Ashland, and she certainly has the class and the quality. But I asked him about number 4, and that's Seeking Her Glory, and that's a pretty big jump. She needed 6 tries to finally get it done and to break her maiden, but he thought that the distance was going to help her. The 9 furlong distance was going to help her, and also that she'd been doing really, really well. And and to me, that's a good, I think, angle that you're keying in on, to see a horse like this, Todd, putting her in graded stakes company just right off the rip. I think that's a huge indication as to her quality. On to the 10th race on today's card. It is a starter optional claiming event, a $16,000 claiming price, 1.1 on the turf course. And in there, a couple scratches, number 1, number 12, and jockey change number 7 is Francisco Maisonette. What did you do?
I went with the 3, Midnight Silver, trained by Giuseppe Ida Cernia. This is this horse's level. I was actually between the 3 and the 4, but I thought the 4, Tom Kitten, his last few races have been on good and yielding, and we've got very firm turf here, so he might be against it.
Yeah, I'm in total agreement with you on that. Excuse me. And on to the final race on the card, and the 11th is a maiden special weight event, and is a 1.16 on the turf course. And my top selection, I went with number 10, Bossman, and it's not because I'm the boss woman.
Bossanakis.
Bossanakis, yeah, I'm C-Boss. But on to, that was my top selection. I think he's going to be showing some speed in here, and but I know that you used another horse.
I went for a price, the 6, Casa Creek, trained by Michelle Nihei. This horse was trying grass for the first time, trying 2 turns for the first time. 2 races back, this horse ran behind a horse named Celebrator, trained by Todd Pletcher. He had a world of trouble. If anybody can go watch that trip, I would recommend it. I like this horse a lot.
Yeah, I didn't use the horse, but now that you're talking about it, and in terms of stretching out for the first time, past a mile, how do you think he'll handle it okay?
I don't have a problem with it, and the horse has already worked on the grass over at Palm Meadows. You see a half in 47-2 and 5/8 in 59-3. I think they know what they're bringing over.
They sure do. I also threw on number 3, March Reward, from the Dale Romans barn, onto my ticket as well. And that's it for today's card. And just a quick look ahead while I have you here, Stephen. Next week we have that Gulfstream Park handicap. A couple of nice horses slated to run in there. Palace Malice, who won the Belmont Stakes last year from the Todd Pletcher barn, he's going to run. And also It's My Lucky Day, Eddie Please's representative, hasn't raced since Monmouth Park when I saw him last. And he looks like he's going to be going there too.
2 horses that have run here before. We got them last winter. 2 very nice horses. It'll be good to see the matchup.
Yeah, it will be a tremendous matchup, and so much going on next weekend as well as today. We do have the Rainbow Six, and there is a carryover just under $2 million, and that starts in race 6. That's it for Steve and myself. Stick around, folks, for the rest of the afternoon. We've got a good one.
Good luck.